Just how much burning are we going to cop in this segment? I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's actually to get wrecking in this place. It's just occurred to me that I forgot to go and get that firebomb from the previous level. I'm actually doing all of this week's recordings the rest of this week's recordings in one fell swoop because I won't have time to record them on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, one thing I actually haven't discussed yet, aside from being completely and utterly frickin' rinsed by enemies that have bazookas when I least expect it, is my tooth, because I got my tooth pulled out. I just continually forgot to talk about my tooth earlier, which is really, really dumb, because it's a topic that kind of annoyed the shit out of me to the point where I actually had to get it bloody pulled out, and because this is Friday's segment, when it actually goes up, it'll have been a week since I actually got it pulled. Before I do that though, I will just point out that the enemy I killed in the blue suit is called a over-patrol guard, and his gimmick, because he's one of the new enemies with the pistol, his gimmick is that he can trap you in a net, which is very annoying because you have to wiggle left and right and get the hell out of the net. I would like to try to not show off the whole point of being in a net until I get the easier method of getting out of there, which I will be able to show off reasonably soon. I believe there's a statue up here somewhere that has what I need. So here I'm just having a look in these doors. I believe I want to go in this door, and hello, fire shooter. No idea if there were even any enemies in there or not, but evidently that is not the case. I feel like there's a room like right next to this one because I just heard the sound, which is, see, there's the net, which I dodged, and there's another net which I dodged. But yeah, as long as you don't have the, as long as you have to wiggle the hell your way out of the net, it renders the over patrols reasonably dangerous, especially when they're in the presence of other enemies, and you are just a complete fuck. Oh mate, I fucking hate your guts right now. I do believe I saw some kind of food back here or something like that. God. Monk meal. Oh, hello. Got it. Okay. That's a bit better, but it's still a dick move on the lightning guard's part. You are paying for your teammate's mistake. So, you can eat a dick. You can eat a bag of dicks. I don't really care that much about getting trapped into a net, except for the fact that I just realised that if you get trapped in a net, you can't use your weapons. You literally have no choice but to wiggle out, and with a whole bunch of high guards around the place, you'll just get shredded before you even get the hell out of there, especially on hard or crazy man. Okay. Well, I want to get the hell away from you fellows. I hate those lightning guards. As soon as you show up, they immediately fire. Okay, so we now have a knife. The knife now lets us get the hell out of nets. Unfortunately, it is not a melee weapon. At least not until the remake it isn't. You can tell that statue has a knife. Well, you couldn't really tell from that angle because it was literally staring you right in the face and was thin as shit. But the knives are a different colour. I mean, from what appear to be these swords that these fellows are holding. But you can quite clearly tell that they're in the shape of knives anyway, so not like that actually matters anyway. Let's trigger this touch plate. I'll be back there later. That's a random power-up, and I just triggered the touch plate to release a whole bunch of enemies, didn't I? That's gonna suck. Okay, well, we're dealing with a couple of high guards at the moment. Which is not too bad. Any more enemies to deal with? A lightning guard that does not have a bazooka, so it is not that interesting. Push this, and we have access to this priest porridge, which... you know what, I'll go back and get that rocket, whatever. If I can even find it. Yeah, here it is. Shoot them with the rocket, then come back for them later if I need them. That's how I'm going to work this out. Doing it as methodical as possible. I may have actually only gotten one of those, which... I don't really care that much. It's still about somewhere in the vicinity of about 70% worth of health, if that was the case. But, no, they are flashing red. Now, let's see what we get from here. There's nothing here that I've gotten that I haven't already talked about. We get God mode. This is actually kind of awesome. You can save and reload to get a different power-up if you so choose. Here, obviously, the whole idea of not even bothering with the save actually did pay off. Because now I can navigate this next area without having to deal with any shit. And I believe... I don't think this takes me towards the exit. But it does take me to another random power-up. The thing with the random power-up as well, though, if you have a power-up and the random power-up turns into a power down, it actually turns into the power down, but you don't pick it up because the power-ups can't, like, you can't pick up a power down if you already have a power-up. So that's a nice little thing to have. Let you get to find out what it is without ever actually having to pick it up. That's always a nice thing. And 125 life item points in just this one pile of stuff. So, yay. Oh, that was excellent. That was excellent. Oh my god. I guess I didn't really take care of this area as efficiently as I would have liked. And then I just sort of pulled out whatever the hell that was that I frickin' spurted out of my mouth. I have no idea what the hell that was. Okay, let us just move on from that. Try to ensure that we don't get rinsed by a bazooka-toting lightning guard somewhere. You two can just sort of die so I can pick up this thing. Oh, you had a bazooka, but thankfully you didn't shoot it. Now what do we have here? Oh, we have an Elasto mode. That's not very good. I actually remember playing through this level once, and I was bouncing up and down all around the place, and would you believe it? I actually lined myself up unintentionally, went so far, hit this jump pad, and flew out of the boundary of the level. I'm not entirely sure what my response was. I think I actually might have been a bit pissed off about it, which I really shouldn't have been, because it was the most excellent thing. Okay, are there any more enemies in this area? I want to say that there is. No, there isn't. Okay, there is, however, a shitload of walls which yield bazookas. There's a couple there. If I push over there, there's a third bazooka. Or bazooka, as it is pronounced by Psychedelic Eyeball. And then on the way back, I can actually start talking about my tooth. I can talk about the process at which my tooth was tooed out. Let's just stick with that. That's too great not to pass up. So anyways, it actually was nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be. I mean, I went in there with a bit nervous because it had been about 15 years since I'd even walked into a dentist. And it wasn't even for me, it was actually for my brother-in-law. He had a tooth pulled out and he was kicking all over the place and was kind of having to deal with a bunch of pain. I'm not entirely sure if numbing cream existed back then though, so that might have been justified, at least to some kind of extent. But for me, it wasn't really that terrible. There might have been a slight hint of claustrophobia just sort of setting in when the assistant sort of had my head in a stable position while the other person pulled the tooth out. Aside from that though, it wasn't really that big of a deal, if I'm honest. I had the numbing cream and then I got injected, I think I got hit 3 times with the needle, and I believe it was only the 3rd time that actually hurt because the numbing cream was applied to the outside of my gum, and that's where the first 2 injections hit, so yeah, I didn't really feel a thing from either of those. See, there's a knife. You can tell that's a knife. You can pick up more than one knife, but you will only ever use the single knife. So that's a bit of a thing, and you won't ever lose this knife, by the way, once you get it. I mean, unless you die and start the level over from pistol. But why in the hell would you ever want to do that? Because again, quick saves. I can't ever shut up about the quick saves. Anyways, I believe that there is a secret wall in this area that if you push opens up like a massive chunk of the level. I'm not entirely sure about it though. I can't remember where it is because it's been a while since I've actually played through these few levels. What we are on the way to, though, is the end of this level. Which I obviously don't want to go exploring in here because there's still a few areas of the level left to explore. That, and I also have to take the secret exit, because this is the level in this episode that houses the secret exit. So we kind of got to find that as well. Thankfully, it's not difficult. Like, it really is not difficult to find in the slightest. I wonder if this is a push wall. No, it's literally just a monk meal by being guarded by a fire jet. Why? That's entirely pointless. It's a freaking monk meal. Like, if it was a decent weapon or something, then that'd be understandable, but for God's sake, it's a freaking monk meal. You can't even warm up monk meal. You can in the remake, but I don't know why I keep drawing comparisons to the remake. I'm going to end up drawing such comparisons when I actually LP the remake to begin with. So, let's see if we can find that secret. I'm pretty sure it's in one of these little crannies. Cranny is a great word. Nope. Shoot you up. No. No. Oh, here we go. Is this what I'm looking for? Yes, it is. This has a bunch of enemies in it. A bunch of those enemies are a bunch of lightning guards. This is not going to end well if I find one shooting me up the arse with a rocket. Okay, now I believe there is like a room where I can get a missile weapon of some variety. Where did I get alerted to? Okay. They must have like heard my footsteps or something like that. But I think just the whole concept of enemies actually picking up on where you are is a bit weird in this game. As well as being able to hit them, like you can shoot like this and you still, and if there's an enemy directly behind the wall, you can still hit them, which is really weird. Okay, so if that guy had a bazooka, I would be dead, and I would have to redo the segment, and I would be pissed off because I'm ripping my throat apart. Thankfully this is the last segment of the week, and then I don't have to worry about it for another bloody week. I can just focus on post-production, which I'm going to have to do for Tuesday's segment right after I'm done with this. Hello. That thing... Okay, so that dead body was bouncing up and down on the spring. Oh, again. Hang on. I'll throw back to the fourth door. Right there. So I'll just leave them to do that while I pick up this, I guess I counted the full health, so I can pick out the monk meal. Oh, come on. Whatever. Moving on. No bazookas there. A couple of these things, though. So let's see if I can get a heat seeker out of them. No. Entirely useless crap. Alright. I think we're about done here. Unless I can find that other secret area, or if I haven't actually finished exploring this area yet. Only one way to find that one out, and that is to waltz around the place. If I went back and looked at the LP... I'll keep that, just because of my reaction. The problem, though, is that my last save was at the start of Winding Way. So if I wanted to go all the way back and get to the point, I have to go through that. That is fucking irritating, to say the least. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay. I actually just decided, screw it, I'm just going to start the level with a pistol start. So I did use a life there, and I now know what lives are used for. And that is if you are stupid enough to forget to save and have to either deal with not having to remake too much progress at the cost of losing all your shit, as opposed to keeping all your shit but having to do more progress. So anyways, I know I've showed this off before, but I went and did that sort of area around where I died. The other thing as well is that I actually get to take another crack at these bonus barrels and hopefully get something decent. Because at the moment I've only got a 3-shell bazooka, and I get not much more out of this barrel than before. Because I then remembered that there is in fact a set in stone MP40 in this level, so I figured screw it, I might as well just go and pick that one up. I didn't actually go and pick that one up, I did eventually find another one. So now I believe I'm just waltzing around the place looking to find, I think there is at least one hidden area in here which might be relevant to my interests, but I'm not entirely sure about it. The other thing as well is that I can't really remember where it is. I think this is it right here. Yeah, here it is. And I just killed an enemy by crushing him with the wall. Good stuff. So navigate this. Okay, no enemies, no new weapons unfortunately, but still another extra life's worth of life items. So I guess that makes up for the life that I had to bloody use up in order to avoid having to redo a whole bunch of shit. I might also pick that up because it has more ammo. Anyways, there's supposed to be a hit extra life here. I already picked that up. I will show off where this extra life actually was when I actually get back to the central hub. And avoid traps and whatnot. Okay, we're back to the central hub. Let's dodge this. And I believe we want to go in this direction. Yeah, here we go. If you just go through that, there's a whole bunch of flame jets. Only doing this because I haven't explored it. Yeah, there's a bunch of enemies here. It is what it is. It's not really that interesting, but had to show it off just for the sake of completion. Now, have we been here before? Yes, we have. I just want to double check and make sure that I've been pretty much everywhere that I need to be. And the answer is no, I haven't, because I haven't checked this room out yet. It's entirely optional, of course, because I can go into either one of the exits at this point. But I figured I might as well have a bit of a gander. There doesn't seem to be anything of interest here, though. There's no enemies or anything like that. So again, completion's sake, we will now move into this area. There was a low guard here in the previous attempt, now that there's just a lightning guard. In here, obviously enemies, not much to say. I think I was talking about my tooth at some point, but yeah, I got injected 3 times. Third one hurt because it got, like, I got jabbed on the inside of the gun as opposed to the outside where the numbing cream was applied. And then it was just a matter of, my only fear at that point was they had this like chisel thing that they were using to get some leverage and pull the tooth out. I was just worried that the tooth was like going to break and then they just take a massive chunk out of my tongue, which would have been painful as shit regardless of how much anesthetic they freaking shot me with. Thankfully that didn't happen, and they only did that for the starting bit, because then they just moved on and used the pliers to just yank the fucking thing out, which I was reasonably happy with. So anyways, the mercury mode is needed to get across that gauntlet of shit, and then there is another gauntlet of shit that you have to go through involving flames and those spear traps and whatnot, and then all the way through here, and it nets us these secret exits. Let's get the fuck out of here because we've spent entirely too long here. I got caught on the top of that little archway, which was kind of annoying. But that would be the end of this level and the end of the segments for this week. So starting next week, we are going to have a look at Turn of the Screw, the first of the secret levels in the retail game. This is all you get, as well as shooting the shit out of that thing. But yeah, that's it.